All right, everyone. Hello. I am Cece Underwood. We're bringing to you the February market update for Northeast Florida. There is actually a lot going on, and I know that the public tend to hear things that necessarily maybe isn't the full truth, especially things that are going on in the media versus what we're actually seeing. And so I do think it is super important to hear from your actual real estate professional of what is going on, because the numbers don't lie, people. The numbers don't lie. And we are going to be going over all the numbers. So I posted the video about just a general overview. So I'm going to go over those, but also go into a little detail about what that means for Northeast Florida, what that means if you're a homeowner, what homeowners should expect to do if they are thinking of selling their home, and kind of where the buyers mindset right now. We work with buyers every single day. So whenever we are talking with homeowners who are thinking of selling their homes, we are literally bringing to you what the buyers are thinking. They are telling us why they don't like homes, why they're not putting in an offer, and also kind of generally what we're seeing in homes that are listed for sale. So maybe we can help you if you are thinking of selling your home, that you can avoid some of these mistakes. All right, so first of all, let's go. We are going to dive into our market summary. So this is generally what I went over in the video, but let's talk about the number of listings. The number of total active listings was 9,762. So we're actually sitting very similar. Just to give you a little perspective, March of last year, so March of 2025, which was about a year ago, we had 11,400 homes for sale. So right now we have 9,700 homes for sale. So the inventory is decreasing, and I'm actually still hearing a lot of talk in the media about inventory is rising. They're literally trying to scare people. Inventory is rising. That is market specific. And so what I want to tell you is markets are hyper local, like hyper local. And even if the average, let's say the average days on market is 90 or 100 days, that is in a very large area, especially in Northeast Florida. We are not such a compact area. Just to give you a different perspective, is markets like Miami, who are really active and also very expensive. That overall average price point is higher. There's also a 50 square miles of Miami. It's about 50 square miles. In contrast, Northeast Florida, Jacksonville is almost 900 square miles. So our average of our MLS is covering a huge difference. It is such a big difference in area. There's a lot that goes on. So even the averages can be deceiving whenever you're selling a home in Northeast Florida. And we have all these little pockets, and we even have subdivisions that are within a larger pocket that could be completely different. So that's what I want to say about specifically Northeast Florida. Is completely different likely than any other place you've lived, because we are so large. So inventory is actually decreasing. So let's just start with that. Inventory in Northeast Florida is actually decreasing. And our new listings are new listings about a year ago were 4,300 new listings on average. And for the month of February, we're about 3,100. Just to give you, it kind of has been very similar, very close, a little above 4,000, a little below 4,000 are brand new listings from over the last year. Same thing is going to be true for our sold listings. So our sold listings a year ago were about 2,500. Our sold listings were 1,958 for the month of February. So again, we're still hovering a little above or below 2,000 sold. But what that does tell you, so there are about 4,000 new listings that are going on the market. In February, there are about 3,000 new listings compared to 1,900 that sold. To me, that's actually a very good number. That's pretty close. And again, just to give you perspective, last month in January, there were 3,500 new listings compared to only 1,500 listings that sold, which makes complete sense because it was January. People are coming off the holiday. But in Florida, a lot of people think spring market actually is April. But in Florida, our spring market starts February. Most spring markets are a little bit later in other parts of the country because they're still getting pounded with snow. They got a lot of cleanup to do. Not a lot of people are out unless they absolutely are necessary and have to move. Unlike Florida, where we have completely skipped the spring and we have gone into summer. So the grass is starting to green up already. People are in their pools. It is almost 90 degrees coming in. So the February market, we saw such a great uptick. The interest rates are holding very steady, below 6% in most cases. So it's a really, really good time. And we actually saw a lot of homes go on the market in February and close. All right, so let's talk about our absorption rate. A lot of people don't understand absorption rate, and I do talk about that. So our absorption rate is the month's supply of inventory. And just to give a little definition, between 1 and 3 months supply of inventory is typically known as a seller's market. And that means there are more buyers looking for homes than there are sellers available. So 3 months or less supply is a seller's market. This is just definition purposes. Everything could change with that. So between 3 to 5 months, usually 3 to 5 months is considered a balanced market, and over 5 months supply is typically considered a buyer's market. And so when we were looking at last year, 2025, we were about 4.8 months supply of inventory. That was March of last year. At our highest peak, our highest month supply of inventory was actually in June, and we had almost 5.5 months supply. So it was, whenever you're going into that many months supply of inventory, that means the buyer growth has slowed down. The inventory did rise. We did see a lot more listings. We saw buyers taking their time, and there were less buyers. There is buyer reluctancy. They also saw that they had more to choose from, which means buyers will take a lot longer to make a decision because every day they're seeing new listings come on the market and FOMO sets in, versus in a seller's market when they go, oh my God, I don't know if there's going to be another home available that I like. I need to jump on this one. So it's urgency. Urgency creates buyer demand. But ever since June of 2025, our month supply of inventory has gone down, and that is completely in line with the number of listings. As our listing inventory goes down, our month supply goes down, which went all the way down. Our lowest inventory, again, was January of this year. And that makes complete sense because not a lot of homeowners list their home in January. February is usually when we see that uptick. We did see that this year in February. It's very, very consistent. So regardless of what kind of market we're in, we are always going to have seasonality. And so if you want to know, people always ask when's the worst time to sell? Well, I would say January and August. January, because it's right after the holidays. People are, coming off of spending a lot of money. They need time to recover. They're getting back in school. Their kids were just off for 2 weeks. They're getting back in routine. The same thing is true for August. So people are preparing for the summer. In August, the kids go back to school. They're back in a new routine. They've already done back to school shopping. So most people do not put their homes up for sale in January and August. If you want to know the dead months, those are kind of our dead months. Other than that, in Florida, it's active. If you want to sell in any other month, it's active. It's a good time. So those are going to be our busiest times, are going to be second and third quarter. But right now we are hanging out at about 4 months supply of inventory. So we're fairly balanced market right now, fairly balanced. That is a good thing for buyers and sellers. If you're thinking of selling, it's not necessarily a buyer's market. However, that doesn't mean overprice your home. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So alongside our days on market is still fairly high. Again, some of that is due to interest rates. Some of that is due to still having buyer reluctancy and buyer affordability. So overall, home prices are still very, very good. They are maintaining. We did see a market correction because in 2020, from 2020 to 2021, we saw about a 25% increase in home values. And then we saw it again. So it literally doubled. And in some areas, the home values tripled. So yes, a market correction was necessary. And we saw that in 2023. Anywhere from 15 to 20% is what we saw as a market correction. However, what that did was allow things to settle down, allow the people who had their home on the market who really did not, they're just kind of throwing their listings up there. They flooded the market. Those people have actually taken their home off the market. We've come back to reality. They've decided either, hey, I need to readjust my prices, or completely take their home off the market and stay if they were able to. But the average days on market is 88.6. So again, average being the entire Northeast Florida in our MLS. If you're thinking of selling, it is very, very, very important. Marketing is such a huge part of real estate, but a part of marketing is pricing. And there are markets in Jacksonville, in Northeast Florida, in St. John's, in Clay County, where the homes sell faster because the desire is there. Pool homes, we're coming into summer. So if you're a homeowner with a pool home, there's going to be a little bit higher demand in Florida for pool homes. So if you don't have a pool home, the number one question you're going to get is, can a pool fit here? So I would definitely recommend, if you have a home with a vacant, with a big backyard, get some type of pool design in there, because that's what buyers want to see if the pool's not already installed. But don't be alarmed by the 88 days on market. What I do want to say about that is, if your subdivision, and this is, again, 88 is Northeast Florida, your neighborhood might be 60 days on market average, or your neighborhood could be 6 months. So the average does not mean it applies to all. I certainly see neighborhoods where a lot of people have decided to put their home up for sale. And so if you are in one of those neighborhoods, even though the average is about 90 days on market, your neighborhood could be 4 to 6 months average days on market, because there are so many homes for sale. And a lot of our builders have the similar floor plans. So what you get into is a lot of homes for sale with the same floor plans, but maybe different finishes, maybe different backyards, different views. So those might be the determining factor of whether a home sells faster or not, especially in neighborhoods where there are a ton of similar floor plans. So if you do have any questions, make sure you can ask questions, put them in here in the chat. Let's go into our next area, which is our sold to our list to sales price ratio. This is a big deal for homeowners. If you're listing your home for sale and you have started high, this is the general thinking. I want to start high so I can negotiate. I don't understand this thinking. I don't understand the strategy, because you are literally negotiating down. You are literally saying to the buyers, try me. Give me your lowest offer. Let's see where we can negotiate. And most of the time, they do present a low offer and the sellers get so offended. But you have to understand, the second you list your home over price, you are kind of stuck on that price. You are now in a sense of believing that is market value. So when someone comes in and offers you $40,000 below your asking price, you're offended. When the reality is, it's probably only $10,000 or $15,000 below the true market value. It's just not what you wanted. Understand, the market does not care what you want. The market is going to give you what the market gives you. So we've got to live in a world of reality of where market pricing is. If you're interviewing agents and you've got one that says your home is worth $500,000 and you don't like it, and the other one comes in and says, oh, it's worth $550,000, and you're like, yes, I love that agent, I would ask a lot of questions. I would ask a ton of questions, ask them to show you the homes that have sold at the price that they are saying they can list for. And just because someone says they can list your home for a price does not mean they can sell your home for that price. Those are two different conversations. So want to have a lot of active listening if you're a homeowner, and ask them to prove it and show it. This is a reality. More oftentimes than not, the price you don't like is the honest price. So be very, very close attention into hiring someone because you just like what they have to say versus the proof the truth and the strategy behind it that shows you they have a track record of success and there are numbers and data to back it up. So much like right now, the public is believing that the inventory is rising. I have data right now, that is showing us the trends are going downwards. So this is what we want to believe is what is real and what is true. So our list to sales price ratio, again, we're going to start a year ago, March of 2025. Our list to sales price ratio was about 95. It was 94.4. So that means if a homeowner was listing their home at 200,000, on average, they were only getting 94% of their asking price. That was a year ago. Now, today, I will say January, it dropped to 93%. Kind of falls in line with the trends, kind of falls in line because less people are putting their homes on the market. They also might be a little more negotiable. February, it jumped, it went to 93.7. So the highest list to sales price ratios was a year ago. It was 94.4%. And so a lot of this does have to do with homeowners starting high. So the higher you start, the less you sell because your home is going to sit on the market and there is a pricing strategy. So let's say the market value of the home is $400,000, but you have 4 other homes on your street or in your neighborhood that look similar to yours, similar square footage, similar view, and they're also listed at 400,000. Don't list at 400,000. Go below. You want to be the best value when you go on the market if you want to sell first. You're not losing money and you're not giving your home away. In fact, most people can't give their homes away. It is almost impossible. So price your home accordingly because if your home sells faster, that means you priced it according to what the market needs, the market demand. Believe me, if you underpriced your home, those buyers will bid it up. We saw that in COVID years. The buyers will pay for what the buyers want. If you're not getting an offer in 30 days, you're probably not priced right depending on your price point and your area. So again, all this is hyper local. You have to look at all waterfront property. If you live in Nocatee, you need to look in Nocatee. Specifically, if you're in 20 Mile in Nocatee, that's your area. How you sell in 20 Mile in Nocatee is totally different from Coastal Oaks and Nocatee. There are neighborhoods within neighborhoods within neighborhoods. And so every single neighborhood has its own little hyper market. And that's where your expert needs to look, is in your hyper little local market. So right now, the average is 93.7. I guarantee you the homeowners who made their home available, cleaned it, it was updated and upgraded, and it was priced right, I guarantee you they're getting very close to their asking price. That's not a bad day in real estate, guys. It is not a bad day in real estate. If you were to price your home higher than the market value and it sat for 90 days, I guarantee you that's when you are leaving money on the table. I have never, ever worked with a buyer in 19 years that looked at a home that had been on the market for 90 days and said, let me give them what they're asking. Never in my life. I have yet to see that. And there is a correlation between, again, urgency. If buyers believe someone else is going to get it, they believe they can't have it, they believe it's not going to stick around, they're going to want to jump on it. But they're only going to jump on it if everything else is right. So if you're a homeowner and you're thinking of selling, really in any market, but this market, especially when you're in a balanced, buyer reluctancy type of market, your home's got to look good. You want it to sell fast, it's got to look good. I can't tell you the number of homes that we walk in with our buyers that aren't show ready. There are dishes in the sink. We can smell what you ate last night. That is not what buyers want. We can smell urine from animals. We can smell your animals. And, that's life with pets. And there's a lot of things we can do to correct it and manage it. It does take some work on the homeowner's part. Landscaping is a big deal. Just little touches and just cleaning, making the bathrooms look presentable, no mold or mildew in the bathrooms, cleaning the toilets. All these things sound like most people would do them, but they don't. And oftentimes our buyers are they're so surprised and will even ask us, did the owner know we were coming? because they're in shock about how the home is presented. So presentation is everything. Marketing to get them in is everything. And handle those objections right from the very beginning. Talk with your agent. If you already have your home listed, make sure you're discussing with your agent and tell them to be direct and honest. We are direct and honest with our sellers. If you call us and we come to your home and you say, what do I need to do to get my home sold? We're going to tell you what you need to get your home sold. That is also going to be followed up with a plan of, we also believe if you want to make the most money, if we think you need to paint your home, we're going to tell you, you need to paint your home. This is not us trying to get you to spend money. It's us trying to get you more money because of the marketability to the buyers. We want it to look good for the buyers. So if they say, hey, your home just went on the market, we want to buy it. We don't want to wait on it. So along with that, if you want to get a higher list to sales price ratio, price it right. If you are a homeowner that's like, I got time, it doesn't matter, I don't have to sell, please don't put your home on the market, because you have buyers who have to buy. They have to buy. And if you're someone who doesn't have to sell, you're probably going to be pretty difficult to deal with. And it might end up costing, number one, I can tell you selling a home is one of the most stressful things because your home needs to be model ready. You're vacuuming, you're cleaning every single day. You're doing the things. This is stressful. If you don't need to sell, I don't know who would want to go through that, to be honest. So in order to get the highest price, make the home look good. Days on market, if you're pricing it right and it's in great condition, you're going to decrease the days on market. But if you're also someone, and let's say your neighborhood is 90 days on market, right? The average home is selling in 90 days. But you call us and you say, I have to sell in 30 days. Like, I got to get the hell out of Dodge. Let me out of here. Then the price is going to reflect that. We are going to discount that price. It is likely going to be anywhere from 3 to 5% below market so that you sell in 30 days. There's no getting around that. If you want to sell faster than the average, price condition still has to be there, but price is going to be your number one factor to sell quickly. So we are going to have that conversation. We're very open and honest. If you want to look at different changes, some other numbers I want to go over for the month of February that weren't on my market report, but I pulled specifically. So for the month of February, there were 563 new listings. 563 new listings. There were 2,231 homes that sold in the month of February. Of those 2,200, 1,700 were single family. 160 were condos, and 222 were townhomes. And then there's, everything else. There's land and all the other things. We currently have 8,500 homes for sale that were active, and we have 3,800 homes that are under contract. So that is super exciting news that we have homes that are going under contract. I know I can tell you personally for our team, we saw an uptick in our listings going under contract in February. Buyers were out. The rates are pretty stable. I mean, we're seeing rates below 6%, and that's a happy rate. Like rates in the 5s, that is a happy rate. Do whatever you can. New construction, they're offering incentives. They're offering a lower interest rate. So of course that is driving a lot of buyers to go into new construction. Even if their pricing is higher, that lower rate is going to allow them to get into a new home that doesn't have to have a new roof and HVAC. Plumbing and electric problems, it's it's brand new. So they're not going to have to invest money down the road and right away versus a resale home where most homeowners have not maintained it. And the buyers are like, they're literally seeing dollar signs when they walk into the homes and they're going, I'm going to have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. So if you are a homeowner that you do need work to do to your home, go ahead and get that done. Oftentimes we'll have homeowners ask us, should we just offer a credit? No. If financially possible, fix it. Don't offer a credit. Buyers don't want a credit. Buyers don't want your money. They don't want your credit. They want the clean house. They want the damn thing fixed. They want the carpet cleaned. They want the stain gone. They want your red and orange walls to be a creamy neutral color. That is what the buyers want. So if that is something, again, have conversations with your agent about what to do and how to get your home ready, prepared for sale. We do have a seller's guide. If you want to know, if you're interviewing, We'd love to interview you. We also have 25 questions or 35 questions you should ask a listing agent. These are phenomenal questions you should be interrogating your agent. Even if they were referred to you, make sure you're interviewing, because the person who used them likely had different needs than you. And so in order for you to get what you want, you need to talk with them, explain what you want, go over your situation, go over the numbers, be very clear in expectations, and dig in deep to what their marketing plan is. I always suggest to homeowners, if you are interviewing an agent, ask for a written marketing plan, not just in the presentation that shows, oh, we're going to do social and videos. You should want to know what that looks like. Go stalk them. Go look on Google. Selling a home is stressful. For you to go through cleaning and putting your home on the market and doing all these things, you want there to be an end in sight. You want there to be a light at the end of the road, which means someone who is going to care enough to tell you the things that you don't want to hear: the correct pricing, the correct staging, the correct cleaning, the updates, the pre-listing inspections. So we are strong. This is Florida, people. Florida and real estate always go together. There are always people wanting to move into Florida. If you are wanting a strong agent, a top negotiator in Northeast Florida, make sure to reach out to our team. If you have any follow-up questions, comment below, subscribe, watch our videos, and reach out to us. We hope to be your real estate team in Northeast Florida.